Welcome to today's episode of Craft Cut Magic. And in today's episode, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can set up a project on Cricut Design Space. And we're just going to be setting up the project today. We're not going to be cutting out the project because I want to give you a full, in-depth, detailed video about that. So for now, let's switch over to our computer and we'll get started setting up a project on Design Space. Okay, so now that we have switched over to the computer, once again, this is just the home page of Design Space. We're going to come up here to this right-hand side. We're going to hit New Project, and we're going to hit Blank Canvas. So this is the screen that opens up. And so now we're going to start on a project. First things first, I'm going to take this Cricut AI and I'm going to move it off to the side. So let's start on a project. So one of the greatest things that you can use inside of Cricut is their images. So I'm just going to come over here. I don't really have any specific idea of what we're going to do for a project today. So I'm just going to come over here and filter by the free images. And we're just going to come in here and we're going to start scrolling down to see what there is that we could work with. Now, there are so many different kinds of free images that you can use on here, but I want to get a little more specific. So I'm going to search for summer, since we are really close to the start of summer, and we're going to see all of these free images that pop up. Now, I'm really liking the seashell right here, and I'm really liking the watermelon as well. Let's see what we can work with. So I'm just going to keep scrolling down for a minute, see if there's any other kinds of things I like. That sun is very cute as well. So now that I'm kind of seeing some images that I like, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start adding them to the canvas. So I'm just going to come up here. I'm going to click on this seashell and add it to the canvas. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add this sun because I really kind of like that. And I actually like this watermelon right here instead of the other one that we were looking at. And so now that we have these three images on the canvas, you can see that this watermelon is a different color at the moment. I am going to change it so that all of them are going to be the same color. I'm actually going to just double check and make sure that they are all going to be the same. Perfect. And as you can see, once we changed all those colors, the color that we're not using went away. So I'm going to come out of images now. And so we have these three images that we took right here. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, but as you can see, we also have the dimensions. Now, this is, again, everything is up to preference for you. So when you create designs and when we go through projects, just know that you don't have to do what I'm doing. You can always do whatever it is that you're thinking might look really cool for your projects. Okay, so we can see all of their dimensions at the moment. And right now, I'm not sure how big I want this to be, so we're just going to kind of leave it for the time being. But I am just going to kind of look and take a note of the sizing. So it looks like everything is about 3 to 5 inches in either height or in width. So that's really good to know. So now that I have these images, I'm going to take it and I'm actually going to add in a shape. So let me show you that. So we're just going to come over here to shapes on the left hand side, and then we're just going to find the circle image. We're just going to click on it and it's going to come right over here onto the canvas. Now, since that's the only shape that I feel like I need right now, just going to close out of shapes. And now that we have this layer, I'm going to change its color so that we can better differentiate between our layers. And so I'm going to change it to blue at the moment. So now we can change this sizing a little bit. And as you can see, as I click and drag on this small little box, the sizing is changing. I'm going to click and drag more over to where I have all of my other images placed. And now from here, what I want to do is I'm going to want to bring this layer backward so that I can see all of those other images more towards the front of our project to see how we're doing. So there are actually two ways that you can change the layers of this circle. And one way is actually up here, but I would like to show you how you can do it over here on the layers tab, because for me, I feel like sometimes this can go quicker, especially when you don't have too many layers. So what you're going to do is you're going to hover over the layer that you're trying to select. You're going to click and you're going to drag. And as you can see, there is a little bar that showed up. And as we drag, it changes position to where that layer will be placed in terms of what's on top of another in the canvas. And so you can see if we go in between the sun and the seashell, the circle is now going to show up right here, and the sun and the watermelon show up on top, but that seashell you can see is still hiding behind the circle. So that's why we just take the circle and we drag it down to the bottom. All right, from here what we can do is we can click each of these different image elements and we can start to kind of change their positioning to get closer to what we're looking for this project. And so I'm actually going to change the material colors of a couple of these images just to have a better idea of what we are going to be looking at when we reach our final decision on how we would like our project to be. And so as you can see for these images that I have been turning, I'm just coming up here to this little box, coming out a little bit further until those arrows change to a turn symbol. And I've been clicking, holding, and then I can change the angle. And that, once again, is really good for when you don't have any specific angle in mind for your project. And then you can see this rotate angle shows up here. And then you can always change the sizing as well. If you don't have anything in particular in mind, you can just click on these little boxes in the corners of an image and you can drag outward or inward and it will change the size. So far this project is actually looking really good. Now I do want to say that I am going to be making this project thinking about it in terms of paper, just so you're aware. But I feel like there's still something missing from this project so far. So we're going to come back over to images. And as you can see, when we opened up images again on this left-hand side, it pretty much opened up right where we left off. So you can see we still have the search bar that has summer inside of it. We still have our search refined to free images. We're just going to scroll down a little bit more. And we might not even end up adding another image. I might decide to add some text to this project. All right, I'm seeing if we scroll up, we actually have some palm trees, which this might be really cool to add to our project. I am going to add them to the canvas. Okay, and now let's see if this is what we were looking for. So I just tapped out, and here you can see that the palm tree showed up down here. And this is why I said in a previous video that sometimes images will show up in weird places on the canvas, and you need to know where that X and Y positioning is up here in the More tools. Now, the nice thing is that we don't have to worry about the X and Y positioning, so let's just go ahead and start to place this palm tree on our project. So as you can see, a couple things need to be moved around a little bit. I'm going to bring this seashell layer up to the top so that it's going to be easier for me to move it around. And once again, you can always change the sizing of an image by coming down here and adjusting by clicking and holding on that little box. Okay, so this is starting to look good. I am going to change this palm tree into a green color so we can see a little bit more what we're working with. And so far it's looking really good. I'm kind of liking how it's turning out. I do think it needs some text though, so let's add in a little bit of text. Now, text is pretty easy to add. You come over here to this left-hand side. We're going to hit text. And as you can see, a little text bar showed up. I'm just going to type in summer with an exclamation mark. And then for as great as this looks up here, I'm going to readjust the sizing a little bit. We're going to bring it over. All right, it's looking pretty good, but I do want to change this font a little bit. And as you can see up here at the top, it's telling you that to edit the text, you're going to double click on there. But the nice thing is that I like that I'm just saying summer with an exclamation mark. So let's change this text up a little bit more. Show you a little bit of what I mean. With text, you can change the font, the style, the size. You can change letter spacing, the line spacing, alignment. You can curve, and you can do advanced, which this is more like ungrouping to letters. You can ungroup to lines or ungroup to layers. What we're looking for specifically is the font. So in order to change your fonts, you just come over here to this left-hand side where it says fonts, and you can see right now it says that it is Cricut Design. So we're just going to click on this little arrow right here. We're going to come into it, and you're going to see that it comes up with Cricut. So you can see that there are a lot of different fonts right here, and as you can probably see, a lot of these are Cricut Access specific fonts, or if you wanted to pay for these fonts, you could. However, for today, we're going to come up here to the top and we are going to hit System, because this is where our free fonts are. And you can scroll through and you can figure out which text works best for your project. I'm going to try out this beach font because I feel like that will be fun for this summer sign project. Okay, so now you can see our font changed over here. So we're just going to arrow out of the font, and so now you can see we have a good idea of what our project is going to look like. So we can adjust sizing, we can tilt it a little bit so that we can position this better, and then we can also change color once again so that you kind of can see what you're looking at. So this project is looking really good right now, and I'm happy with how it's looking right now. So what we're going to do is, the final part for any project that you make is that you are going to need to save it. So when you come up here to the top, you're going to hit on Save, and then you're going to create a project title. So I'm just going to title this with something. And then if you have a collection, for example, like paper projects or something, you could always put it in those collections as well. And now that you have a title and you can kind of see if you would like to place it somewhere, you can always hit Save. All right, and so from here you can see that our project has been saved, and so instead of an untitled project, we now have a project labeled as a summer sign. And so from here with our project, we are actually going to stop for this video, because in the next video I really want to go into detail with you on how you're actually going to make projects. And so until that time, I hope that you enjoyed building your very first project on the canvas with me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.